welcome to my channel. So if you know anything about me, you know that I'm huge on journaling. I have been journaling, that's 4 years, and because I'm 16, that's a quarter of my life that I've been journaling. So I would say that I kind of know what I'm talking about when it comes to journaling. So I'm going to be sharing my journaling journey while also talking about which form of journaling is the best for you, where you should start, where you should plan on going, etc. So if you're new to journaling or if you just want to learn how to get better at it, this video is for you. My original reason for wanting to get into journaling was because I wanted to vent, but I had no friends to vent to, so I would just vent to my journal instead. And I also wanted like a mood tracker. Where I started, and where I think is a decent place to start for most people, was a journaling app. So I got this app, I think it's called Daylio. I have no idea if the app is still like this, if they've changed, like I have no idea. Basically how it worked was you would input like your mood on this like scale, and you would input like icons for what activities you did that day, and then you could write like a paragraph-ish about your day, or like as much as you wanted really, and then you could put a photo relating to that day if you wanted to. It was really convenient. It gave you notifications, so it would be harder to forget to journal. And I liked how it had those features built in of like you could just add a photo, you could just like easily input your mood and what activities you did that day. I think it's a really beginner friendly way to start. It also had like graphs of how your mood is and general tracking for how things are, so I thought that was really helpful. So I think that that's a good place to start. Although I did continue writing online for a while, and I think online is also a good place to start because you don't need to spend time writing out each word like one by one. You could just type it really fast. The next form of journaling that I got into, which was better for the state that I was in at the time, which was like kind of like depressed, not really doing that good, right? So I started having an online journal because I know like there's people who like use their notes app for venting and stuff. That's basically this. I just did it in Google Docs and always used the same doc, kind of. I ended up writing so much in this that I had to make another doc because the first one wouldn't load. Because I just really needed to vent at the time, and I was like in a rush, like I didn't have time to like write down each word, or I didn't have time to like input a photo. I just went into Google Docs and I would just vent. I did it like I was texting someone. Like I would write like a short sentence, hit enter, and then it would be a new line. Like it wasn't a paragraph, it wasn't proper grammar. Like sometimes I'd have long entries, sometimes I would have short entries, stuff like that. This was the best way for me to get into journaling. I wrote a total of about 100,000 words in both of these docs combined, which is like a literal novel. I think that this is a good way to also get into journaling if you don't really care about the things like putting in photos or having like a mood tracker and you just want to write down your feelings. This is your way to journal, because I wouldn't journal every day. There were times where I would disappear for months and not touch this, and times where I would write multiple times a day every day. It's a really good way to get into journaling because when you try to force yourself to journal every day, sometimes there becomes that like almost resentment or dread towards journaling. It's like a chore that you have to do. Like you have to force yourself to write even if your day was boring or you just like don't want to. So I think that this is a good way to kind of introduce yourself to journaling, especially if you are in one of those states where you just need to vent and you aren't concerned about looking back for memories or whatever, and you just like need to get your feelings out. With this, I want to emphasize the point that you don't need to journal every day. I feel like it's kind of expected that if you want to be like a real journaler, you need to journal every day. I don't think that that's the case at all. And I think this honestly kind of goes back to the last video I made about how like there's certain pressures around things like trends and aesthetics where there's like a right way to do things. I know people who journal by talking to their camera and then editing silly videos out of it because it just makes fun out of venting to their camera and it makes the situation lighter. And I think that that's a form of journaling. There's literally no right way to journal. I'm just telling you different methods that I've done that might work for you. Now, we're gonna get into actual journaling. This isn't like a lot. I have this like planner thing, which I'm gonna get into. This is my journal for this year, and then this is like another journal. I just noticed.
This is the one I was looking for.
I'm lying to you. In this journal, I got about this far in. I didn't do about this much of the journal. That's how much I wrote. This is how much I wrote. This one's the only one I'm actually like, oh shit, wait, am I almost done with this? I'm like more than halfway done with this one, which is actually really concerning because this is supposed to be for all year and I just realized I might not be able to fit my whole year in this. I'm kind of a poser. Okay, I'm not actually a poser. I love journaling. But these two journals, I wrote maybe 20 pages in each. This one was my whole year, but I didn't journal every day. This one is 2025, and I am journaling every day. So we can kind of see the progression of I tried to get into journaling, and I tried to force myself to do every day, and I ended up resenting it, thinking it was a chore and giving it up. This was me not journaling every day, but trying to journal as much as I could and getting into paper journaling, getting into that whole thing. And also I have my planner here, which I will get into. My journal now, having been journaling for a while, I'm just like settled into this now. So we're gonna get there, just bear with me. There's a whole lot to learn. So we're gonna start with my first paper journal ever. This one, Stay Positive. If you saw my last video, I talk about how when I was younger, aesthetics put a pressure on me to kind of pick a mold and a personality to stuff myself into and to not really be myself. That is what these two journals are based around. So it was mostly me trying to, I was tracking my personality, how I felt, stuff like that, what I wanted to be, what I wanted to do, and I was going to look back, see the consensus and what average personality I had, what I felt like I wanted to be, and kind of just become that because I didn't know what I wanted. It was genuinely so unhinged. I don't know. Why was I writing about losing weight as a 12-year-old? Get a grip. Pretty journaling in general, which is also in this notebook, but I do it better in this one, so I'll show that really quick. The thing about pretty journaling and trying to make it all look perfect is that it is time-consuming with little reward. Yes, you get a pretty journal, but it's hard to keep up. Even if I only write a little bit in here, it's gonna take me time to
slowly write out each letter and then go over it in pen and then to color it in and stuff like that. It takes time.
If that's what you want to do, if you want to have something pretty to look back on, then you know what? Go do it. But the thing is, it's not a good place to start because it takes time, it's tedious, and you really don't get to write as much as you would want to. Honestly, I think if that's your end goal, then you're not really doing journaling for the purpose of journaling. You're doing it to fit into the aesthetic or expectation of what a journaler should be like. You can make it pretty, do whatever you want, but it's kind of defeating the purpose of journaling and, as a whole. When I was journaling like this, I did not stick with it for very long, and that's why these are my two shortest journals out. This journal, which is actually very pretty, it's really enjoyable to look at because damn, don't read this, but damn. So I didn't even know that this was in here, but fun fact, I just went to the back of the journal because I noticed 2 pages sticking out. There were 2 times that I journaled in here. I have a recipe and I have just a random journal, but because my handwriting is bad, I ripped it out of the journal. Listen, if you're journaling and your handwriting is bad, so you rip the page out of the journal, you are trying to make something aesthetic that you will like to look at. That is not journaling, that is art. You're making art, you're not journaling, you're not writing about your feelings, you're not really valuing that stuff. Now we're getting into 2024 when I actually started getting serious about journaling. So I went kind of crazy and it kind of didn't stick, but I want to talk about it. This was my journal, right? I would write in this almost every day. I would try to do half a page a day. So I was just journaling about my day as much as I could. It wasn't every day. Some days I would forget, some days I was too lazy, whatever. I had a planner at that time. You can see my mood. I had it a monthly mood thing, and then I had I literally played every second of my day. It was literally crazy, and I ended up getting bored of it, and it ended up getting really lame towards the end. The main essence of what I want to emphasize with this planner is that it had what the app had that I talked about at the beginning, which is mood trackers. So I think mood tracking is a form of journaling. The rest of this is just a to-do list. To-do lists are not journaling. To-do lists are you're just writing what you want to do. That's not journaling, that's just you saying, this is what I'm going to do today. We're gonna kind of skip past that and we're going to go into my current journal because this has a lot of good stuff in it. So I journal every day. Some days good handwriting, some days bad handwriting, but I journal every day. And this is staying pretty consistent throughout the year, which I'm pretty proud of. This is where I'm currently at. It took me a long time to get consistent with journaling, and you don't need to do it every day. I do it every day now because I want to have it for the memories. I don't want to skip any days, but I didn't start that way. I didn't force myself to do that. It is just where I am at now. But what I want to emphasize with this journal, I write about my day every day, but the most not generic thing about this, because obviously when you journal you write about your day or you write about how you feel, whatever, but what I want to emphasize with this journal, at the start of my journal, I have like vision boards. I'm not gonna like show them a lot because evil eye, but I have vision boards and then I write what I want. So I got this idea from this YouTube channel to have quarterly goals instead of yearly goals. So I have my yearly vision boards. I don't change those, but I do change my goals. So for each quarter, I will put a tab here and I will read these goals about once a week. There's so many different ways to journal. You can literally do whatever you want. Like, you are not bound to making your journal pretty. You're not bound to journaling every day. You're not bound to journaling on paper. Journal however you want, as long as you are getting a benefit out of it. How I journal every day, I kind of keep my journal next to my bed so I don't forget. Keeping your journal in a spot where you will remember to do it, that's going to really help. If you tuck it away in your closet, you're not gonna remember. I wish everyone luck on their journaling journey. Remember to always be kind and keep on educating yourself. I love you so much. Thank you for watching. Bye!